meeting for Dayton City Council. I have a roll call, please, Ms. Ledger.
Yes. Mayor Baker?
Here.
Member Bolger?
Here.
Member Neary?
Here.
Member Baszler?
Here.
Member Cornett? Here. Member Burns?
Here.
Member Lynn?
Here.
City Administrator Giffen?
Here.
City Attorney Etch?
Here.
All in attendance, that's wonderful. We now please rise for a moment of silence and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this moment, we'd like to open up the podium for anybody who would like to speak from the audience. To please approach the podium, state your name and address, and approach council.
Hey everybody, my name is Nathan Krager. I've met almost all of you. I live at 306 5th Avenue, and my fiance and I also own 526 6th Avenue. And basically I just wanted to come up here and voice some support for the amended policies for the CCAP that you're going to take up later in the agenda. As I understand it, it's just to allow businesses here in Dayton to move to a larger location to be able to apply for the CCAP and basically qualify for it. And insofar as that, as far as I can tell, would be to the benefit of a business like, for example, Hometown Heroes. I know I've talked to some of you about the story about how Jacoba and I ended up moving here this summer, but you know, and I apologize, you'll have to listen to it again because some of you haven't heard it, and I'd like to get it on the record. In April, we came here to see a concert in Cincinnati, and then the next day we had some time to kill, and we thought, let's go explore some of the parts of this area that we hadn't been to before, and I'd never been to Dayton before. And we knew they had marinas and we're into boats and that kind of thing, and so we just drove down here just for a drive. And on our way back through town, after seeing the town and thinking, this is a pretty neat place, we saw Hometown Heroes in their original location. And we stopped and we had lunch there and we watched a Cubs game. Don't hold that against me. I was raised this way. There's nothing I can do about it. And we got to talking to Tim and Crystal. And I have to tell you, these are some of the finest ambassadors for this town that you could hope to have. They really sold us on what a good community this was. And then pointed out, hey, did you know that that building across the street from us happens to be for sale? And we were like, well, that's very interesting. And then by June, we'd acquired that property, and then a month later, we bought the house that we live in now. If ever there was a business in town that deserved, you know, the support and acknowledgement of the community through a program like CCAP, it's got to be them. And so I just wanted to stand up and get on the record and say that on their behalf, and that's it. Have a good week.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carter. Mr. Perry?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elmer Carey. I live on 3rd Street. I think I come over on the Mayflower when I got there. I'm here to promote the reality store. And some of you know all about it. And I'm looking for volunteers. I've had some cancellations. I've got just about all the places filled. But if you can come to do a cameo appearance and you can stay, you know, I'll give you a position. I got everything filled except contributions, where Don will take care of that. But I had a cancellation from Vera Stuck. I had a cancellation from Penny Flagg. She's going to be out of town. I haven't filled that entertainment position yet, so if anybody wants to come and take that, I'd appreciate it. The reality store is October the 3rd, 11th. The program starts at 8 o'clock. As far as it's a reality, the cafeteria will be open at 8. We'll have a continental breakfast. There'll be coffee, water, and orange juice, and donuts. The program will start at 9, and I'll try to have you out there by 11, if I can.
You might tell what the reality store is.
Well, I think everybody here knows what the reality story is, but if not, if for somebody here who doesn't know what the reality story is, this is a program for the 8th graders and the juniors. And the 8th graders get to do this twice. They will come into they'll come into the gymnasium, and they will say, what are you going to do when you graduate? So they have a pretty good idea of what your salary is going to be. And then you start with that salary, and you got about 16 stations to go to. You got transportation, you got groceries, you got housing, and that to take care of. So all the bills, and everybody, an adult in here knows what it is, what the reality check is to live out, to make a living. So this is for the 8th graders and the 11th graders. And when this first started, I thought that these kids would be running around, jumping up on each other's back, and not taking it serious. But the people that've been there before, they take it serious. The last station is evaluation, and they come to me. They have to go to all the stations, and they'll say, I can't go to that station. I ain't got any more money. I said, well, get rid of that Mercedes and ride the bus. So anyway, I've had them come to me crying because they couldn't get on the plus side. That's how serious these young people take this. So if you can make a cameo appearance, I'd really appreciate it. That's October the 11th, continental breakfast at 8 o'clock, program start at 9, try to have there by 11. I've got just about all the positions filled. Now, if somebody can come as a cameo appearance, maybe you can take a position. I'll try to have you. Dave, I'd like for you to be there at the cameo appearance. Chief, I'd like for you to be there. And anybody on council wants to come and see how serious these kids take this. Michael's going to be there and take a position. So I'm sure Ben will be there if he can. And so try to make it October the 11th. Cafeteria opens at 8, program starts at 9. And so if you can stay until 11, I'll try to give you a position to fill. If it's already filled, I'll let you sit with somebody. So this reality story is really, really, I'm probably in my 29th to 30th year working with this school. So, but I thought these kids take this serious. I mean, really serious. And they've come to me crying because they couldn't get on the plus side. So, but they have to visit every station. So I hope to see you October 11th. And thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Elmer. Thanks.
That's October 11th at Dayton High School, yes?
Dayton High School in the cafeteria, and the program will be in the gym.
Thank you very much for your contribution, sir.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to approach council? Please state your name and your address, please.
Laura Stanberry, 213 Lindsay, apartment B. I would like to ask council to do trunk or treat for Slusher. If we can't do it at the city parking lot down in the 600 block.
Yeah, let's ask them to say that one.
Sorry.
Ask us to do it at 6:20.
Either
6:40.
620,
6:40.
640, I'm sorry,
14.
640 parking lot or across from the city building, whichever place. And maybe to get some funding from the city for some candy maybe. But I would like to see this done in Bob Slusher's honor, because he was the one who started the original trunk or treat with our church. And it doesn't have to be a church thing, it's a city thing, that's cool. But because he started it, I'd love to see it in honor of him.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Especially since you want to honor a past resident, Mr. Slusher. I know him when he was a young man. But I would suggest that you get with Bob and anything you guys can work out. And also get with the mayor. I would prefer that you use the parking lot adjacent to the tattoo parlor. I just think that'd be, it's more lit, it'd be safer. And but not only bigger, but if council approves this, I suggest you put out some information, because there might be churches want to go down there, or residents who just want to go down there and just open their trucks up, because honestly, I don't have a lot of people come to my house anymore. I'm concerned why young people don't go out, but I guess I'm gonna sit here and talk too much, and I don't want to, but I guess I'm just asking the mayor, what's the rest of the council pleasure on this?
I'll make a motion that we have the trunk or treat in the 600 block of 6th Avenue.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ms. Croder and seconded by Mr. Burns. Do we have any comments on the motions?
Is this during this on Halloween night, I assume, and then same hours as trick or treat?
Yes,
Which we haven't set, but usually 6 to 8.
So whatever,
whatever the
Hours
Halloween
we
hours
set.
are for Dayton, yes. Whatever gets set, then to have it during those hours.
While you're on the times, I think 6 to 8 that's too short. I like to see it go to 5 to 8, because I like to see some of these young people in their costume. When it's dark out, I can't see some of these young kids. They're awful cute when they're in their costume, so.
Well, see, if you come and set up with us, then you will be able to see them.
Then I
in the
wouldn't have my
parking lot.
house. I might do that.
so the motion's been made by Ms. Cornett and Mr. Burns. Do we have any more comments concerning this? Roll call, Dawn?
Member Cornett?
Yes.
Member Burns?
Yes.
Member Lynn?
Yes.
Member Volter?
Yes.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Baszler?
Yes.
So unanimously, we accept to honor Mr. Slusher and his many contributions to our city, and welcome you to trunk or treat on whatever day Halloween is. And
Thank you so much.
600
I
block.
appreciate it.
thank you so much. Would anybody else like to approach council? Audience is closed. So now we are moving along to mayor's report. For the mayor's report this month, I would like to let all our council members know that I am considering adding each person on council to a advisory board for each board for the city, whether it's park board, civic club, et cetera. And if you would like to have a preference to which board that you would like to be a liaison for, please let me know. Next month, we'll go ahead and announce which ones we choose. But basically, the idea is to have a council member show up for each member's meeting and bring back those recommendations to council so that we have a better representation for council and those boards. And that is my only report for the mayor's report today. I'd like for approval of minutes from the September 3rd and 10th council meetings.
Was anyone absent from either one? If so, we'd have to do them separately.
I don't believe so. I believe we had full attendance. You and Jeff. I know, it was great.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from both September 3rd and September 10th council meetings.
Do you have a motion?
I'll second that motion.
The second is made by Mr. Baszler. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Minutes passed. We'll move along to orders. The 2019, number 16, amending chapter 37 to conform to the city tax rate ordinance.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 29, number 16. An ordinance amending the chapter 37 of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances to conform with the city's tax rate ordinance. This ordinance amends chapter 37 of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances as it relates to the taxation by removing conflicting provisions so the ordinance operates in concert with the city's tax ordinance, number 2019, number 17. And this is the second reading.
17 or 16?
16.
Well, down here, it operates with 2019, number 17.
Right.
but up here it's
This
number
is
16.
This is 16.
It's 16, it's working with 17.
Okay.
Make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 2019-16.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Burns and second by Mr. Lynn. Any comments? Roll call?
Member Burns?
Aye.
Member Lynn?
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Baszler?
Aye.
Member Cornett?
Aye.
2019, number 16 passes unanimously. We'll now move along to the first readings. Number 2019, number 18, amending 2019, number 17 as it relates to the imposition of personal tangible property taxes.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, ordinance number 2019, number 18. An ordinance amending ordinance 2019, number 17 for the imposition, levy, collection, and apportionment of taxes for the city of Dayton, Campbell County, Kentucky for the fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. This ordinance amends ordinance 2019, number 17 as it relates to the imposition of personal tangible property tax for the city of Dayton from .747 cents to .719 cents on each $100 of valuation of personal property other than motor vehicle and motorboats. And that's first.
First reading. Move along to order number 2019, number 17R, adopting and amending the policies for CCAP.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, municipal order number 17R, a municipal order adopting the amended grant award policies and procedures for the Commercial Community Advantage Program.
We have a motion to accept the adoption for the amended policies for the CCAP program.
Move to accept amended policies, order 219-17R.
Member Volter made the motion,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Cornett. Any comments?
We have a question. I do want
Yes,
to make
ma'am.
sure that this, these amendments don't have an effective date. So I know it'll take this reading and the next reading for it to be effective just tonight?
Today.
Just tonight, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
There's not any exceptions to this. There's not any effective date for Hometown Heroes. No.
It's an
Well,
order, not an ordinance.
Attorney answer that.
We have to read it once.
No, once it's there, anybody that then moves, you know.
Just
it's
the-
good to go.
But they've got an
So,
application in, so there's record that it's
Yeah, they're there.
I just
before.
want to have it on record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, I've got a couple of comments.
Yes, sir.
I have no problem with what you've changed in regards to this CCAP rental abatement. But as I stated at the last council meeting, I hope when you're putting people on different advisory boards that this whole program is looked at, because this started out as a 3-year program and it's now probably going into this 5th year. So it needs to be reevaluated and or changed, because there are things in this CCAP program that are no longer any good. So I suggest that we relook at this whole program. I'm not against what you've done. I think it's a great idea, and it's going to help a fantastic couple out. But the rest of the program needs to be evaluated, over-evaluated.
Your comments have been heard, sir. It's a living document that we can change at any time. Do you have any specific parts of the ordinance that you'd like to change?
I think it all needs to be looked at. Like I said, Ben, this was started out as a 3-year program, and I would venture to say Michael correct in saying we're going almost to the 5th year now.
I think this is the 5th year of operation.
So anytime you have a 3-year program and it's going into its 5th year, either there's good things or bad things, or things you can enhance or take out altogether, then we need to look at it.
Thank you
The
very much,
bigger
sir.
concern that I have about this program is, well, a couple of things here. First off, I want to make very clear that we're not making this change specifically for one business.
No.
Okay? We're making this because this is the first example of an instance like this. And this is not a secondary grant. As it's very clearly stated in here, once you get a grant, that's it. Okay? There's no reapplication. The important part to me in this amendment is that now, if someone is denied by the Economic Development Director and Administration, if they are denied for their CCAP, they can come before City Council and plead their case, and we can override that denial. I think that's a real important aspect of this because we've learned a lot over these 3, 4, 5 years. I would like to point out that this is coming out of the Economic Development Fund, which, as Bill has pointed out in the past, there's no more money coming in that. We got most of this money from the sale of the marina many years ago, 6, 7 years ago, and it was established specifically for economic development. However, over the years, we've taken money out of the Economic Development Fund. We used, I think, $78,000 to buy property on Berry Avenue and close to $60,000 to tear them down, taken out of economic development. In the budget that this council approved for this fiscal year, there's $250,000 in there for capital improvements that are not defined that come out of this economic development fund. So I think if there's anything that we need to spend attention to on the economic development fund, it's those instances. Mr. Yoder, I believe last year's expenditures for CCAP were in the neighborhood of $68,000.
In a little higher than that. I know it was about 75,000 for facade and structural improvement alone. We had two $30,000 projects and one $15,000 project.
Right.
So, and then probably another, so a little over $100,000 total.
Okay, thank you. I think the ROI on this program has been great. We've got lights on in the avenue. We've got good businesses in there, and these are not chain businesses. These are owner-run businesses, which really fit the fabric of Dayton. I agree that we will learn as we go along and amend some things. The facade improvements that we have done, those buildings that applied the money for that look 1,000 times better. Mr. Kroger, your building is one of them. I think this is a great program, probably one of the best things the city's ever done. That's the end of my comments, sir.
One of the things I want to tell you that this gentleman just bought that property, and it's fantastic. I appreciate you buying that property, but one of the problems that happened was the previous owner owed the city of Dayton $7,000. Am I correct on that figure, Michael? I don't want to misquote anything, that we had to wait for. So that's some of the things that this needs to be looked at. The city of Dayton don't have $7,000 just to give out and we have to wait for over the years.
In this document, sir, actually there is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ed, but if someone violates the terms of the agreement, and it is a 3-year contract minimum, that the city can pursue getting those funds back.
And I agree
Correct,
with that,
Mr. Edge?
That is correct.
Okay. So we do have that recourse.
I understand that, but do we, as a city, have to go back to go to our attorneys to get monies back? That's something. I'm just saying we need to look at this whole program.
I don't think there's ever a guarantee. I mean, you're not going to guarantee that situation. I mean, we got to go to our attorney to get back taxes back too. But, we're going to utilize them for those things.
Well, I spent probably 15 hours going through this amendment. So I feel that as it's presented tonight, now that we've made that change, is that correct, that one deletion is in effect on this?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Resend that out to council.
Yeah. I wish we had more money to give away, but as Bill said, we got to be careful with limited resources.
I want to reiterate, I have no problem with the program, but you started this program for 3 years. We are now going in the 5th year. You tell me there's nothing in there that we shouldn't be upgraded or degraded? I just
We've
don't
made
understand
changes
that.
to it, Bill. We've made changes as we've gone. I think we'll
Okay.
continue, and I agree, we can continue to make changes, but I think it's going into its 5th year because it's been so successful. I think that's why it's stretched out for 5 years.
When the money's gone, it's gone.
Any other comments? Sweat, thank you. Motion's been made and a second as well. Do we have a roll call, please?
Member Lennon?
Aye.
Member Bolter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Baszler?
Aye.
Member Cornett? Aye. Member Burns?
Aye.
Unanimously passes. We'll now move along to the administrative report for the handicap parking request for Audrey, I'm gonna butcher this, aren't I? Audrey Petrakis,
All right.
a beautiful last name, have 1226 6th Avenue.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep, just one handicap parking request, 1226 6th Avenue. The applicant meets all the qualifications as set forth by ordinance. I'd ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made, the second. Any comments?
Who made the second?
Mr. Neary.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? So passed unanimously.
I've got we had a busy month for sealed bids for city-owned property. First one we put out for bid, 1019 Maple Avenue, we had 3 bidders. The highest amount was from Joe Holiday, bid amount $1,100. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve his bid. This was a vacant lot, if I'm not mistaken.
These are all vacant ones.
No.
This one is, but the next one will not be.
So he's asking for a motion for the bid for $1,100 to be accepted for 1019 Maple. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Volter?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? So it passes.
Second one, 916 6th Avenue. There were 5 bidders for this property. The highest bid was from Terrence Brown, bid amount $5,050. I'd like to ask for a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Volter. Any comments?
What was the winning bid on that property?
$5,050, sir.
Is this a house, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Bob, I'm gonna ask you a question. Could I ask this question once before? Will this fall into the category of the ordinance where they get 5 years abatement on their taxes?
They could apply for that, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Motion's been made. A second as well. Do we have any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
2 nays. So 3-2, it passes.
What was the 2 names?
Mr. Neary and Mr. Baszler. Any abstentions? 3-2, it passes. Still bid for 916 Avenue passes. The last, sir?
4-2.
What's that?
4-2.
not 3-2.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
And then the last one I have was for the lot on O'Fallon in the city of Bellevue. There were 2 bids. The highest bidder was Brendan Sullivan for $50,000. I'd like to ask for a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bolter made the first and Ms. Cornett made the second. Any comments?
Michael, who's the bidder in the,
The city of Bellevue,
how much they bid?
$11,001.
Any other comments?
Is there any stipulations on this, or just a clear transfer, any timeline?
Clear title, it is just clear title, minimum bond payment of $50,000.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Since this is gonna be a private owner, is he gonna have the authority not to have that semi parked down there all the time?
That'd be between me and the city of Bellevue.
Because that semi is it's bad.
Noted.
I would just know that that's in the city of Bellevue, but it's my understanding there might be some kind of arrangement with the city of Bellevue and that semi-truck driver for right-of-way area.
Right of way.
That they also own down there, it's not parked on our lot.
Right.
That we are on and trying to sell the rights to.
Okay, we're good.
Any other comments? Motion's been made with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously.
I've got a couple items not on my report that I just want to bring up quickly. Again, we're trying to get this out as much as possible. It's available online, but the garbage collection date may change for some of the residents, will change for some of the residents, starting October 14th. Depending on what area of town you live in, trash pickup will be on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It'll still be once a week pickup, but it'll just be depending on the day and what area of town you live in. We have an interactive map that's posted online, and we're continuing to post it on Facebook, so you can go and scroll to your house to see which section of town you fall in. Republic was supposed to send out notices to the citizens. Based on my conversations with citizens, I don't think that has gone out. I'm hoping they will get that out because that will help. They were supposed to get us a mailer that we were going to send out with the tax bills. To my knowledge, that wasn't received. So let your neighbors know. Again, we're posting it online. We've posted it in the Dayton Community News. So however you can to get the word out, I'm sure it'll be something to get used to for a couple weeks, but then it'll, like everything else, work itself out.
Question, Mike.
Again, that's the week of October 14th.
So why haven't they sent notices out? I mean,
When I don't know why, when I contacted them last week, they said that they do it through a third party and the letters never go to them, it just gets sent out.
well, maybe until it gets sent out, we ought to suspend the pickup date for another week for each week they don't comply. I mean,
Not everybody's on Facebook.
I'm just saying, you know, they take advantage of us sometimes, that's all.
I'll let them know.
Yeah.
My comment, Michael, we have problems now, people putting trash out 3 and 4 days in advance, and it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know what's gonna happen now because they don't know when their pickup day is, so, I know we're gonna have to be nice to some of these citizens, but man, I don't understand why they're allowed to put out trash 3 and 4 days in advance, and when they put trash out sometimes, it's a half a block long. I guess I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's gonna be bad, and they're gonna put it out, and they don't know what day is it, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so.
Aren't those kind of exceptions though, when they put that much trash out where they're cleaning out a house or somebody moving out, or, I don't think that's a regular every week event.
I'll just tell you this, Tim, I don't care if it's an exception or not, I'm just saying to you is that when we allow people to sit stuff out on our streets, that's overabundance, and they have to get a special pickup, it's still on our streets. It still lets the dogs get in it, it still lets the scrappers get in it and everything else, and I don't have a problem with it, I'm just telling you, it's gonna be a disaster because Republic has not let our citizens know what's going on. I talked to Donna about this. She's been waiting for a week now to send out the tax bills with a letter. She's done with her tax bills. She was gonna put something in the tax things, and they wouldn't get it to her. When they want their check, once a year, they'll want that, though, won't they?
Can we push back on that?
Question.
I think I'll contact them tomorrow and let them, if that's your all's desire, then, yeah.
I would suggest, let's see how big this problem's gonna be. Officer Lyles, our code enforcement officer, that first week, there's gonna be people putting stuff out on Tuesday and it doesn't get picked up till Thursday because they didn't know they got switched. Let's see what it's like the first couple weeks and revisit it in November. I don't want you having to write 50 or 500 citations because somebody wasn't on Facebook and didn't get the message. But I think when we come back in November, if it is a problem where people just didn't know and Republic hasn't sent anything out by then we'll have to readdress it. I don't think it's going to be as difficult to transition as it could be. The people cleaning out houses and, you know, like you said, Bill, 30 feet of trash out front, I don't know how that happens. But it happens every day of the week, not just the day before trash pickup. So I appreciate some feedback from Officer Lyles to see if it really is an issue. I don't think Republic already has their schedule changed, published very well for Bellevue, and it meets about the same Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in different zones. One thing it's really going to change is the traffic patterns in town. On trash day, if you're on 6th Avenue behind that truck, you're in trouble, and pretty much on any street. I hope that everyone is very careful that Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday morning, because those guys have a very dangerous job jumping in and out of traffic. The more we can do to make everybody aware of it, Michael, if you could check with Republic, and even if we have to put something out somehow, I don't think we can stop the change, though, or should stop the change.
I'm not, I just think sometimes Republic takes advantage of us. And, you know, for example, they're not supposed to be on 6th Avenue during rush hour time, but they are. Because they want to get their job done, you know, rather than come back around. But, you know, those are the kinds of things. And then this notice, which would be very helpful, obviously. But I do think it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to, you know, get it in place, and people will figure it out. They put their trash out Tuesday and it gets picked up Thursday, then the next week they'll probably, hopefully, put it out on Wednesday, you know. They'll get the message. It's just going to take 2 or 3 weeks.
They said they're willing to come back too. They said it'll take 2 months. And they said anything that gets missed on Wednesday, they're gonna be here Thursday, so all they gotta do, they're gonna come back and pick it up. So they're willing, I think they're willing to work, and they said it'll be a 2-month transition.
Okay, the other two things real quickly. There's a planning and zoning meeting here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, as some of y'all may be aware, the water company started in mid-September on a major water main replacement on Urban Terrace. It's just a necessary evil that needs to happen, so any inconvenience, we apologize. It's going to be a long process. They hope to wrap up before Christmas, but it's something we've been waiting for a long time in the process. Not only the road getting fixed, but several sidewalk systems there are going to get fixed, and the curbing. At the same time, we're hoping to put in with the sanitation district some new guttering, so hopefully that will be a positive step of many that need to come in addressing some stormwater issues in town. Unless anybody has any questions?
Does that include the storm basins that I heard mentioned?
No,
Okay.
no.
That's different?
No. For regular purposes, the comment section for the audience is at the beginning of the meeting.
Sorry, you got it.
I would ask that all members of the audience, observe the decorum of this meeting and allow the council to proceed without interruption. Thank you.
I have a question on this. I was up there yesterday or the day before talking to the foreman on the project. What they're going through up there with those 2 water mains coming down is a pretty massive project. And those are deep. Those are, in some spots, like 8 feet deep. They're taking 2 lines and combining them into one. One is much older than the other. So they're having to retie in every house up along the way. And then SD1, I'm presuming, is also going to be doing work up there at the corner of Belmont at some time during this project?
They've done most of their work. What we're working with them on Belmont now will be the catch basins.
Correct. My question is, because this is such a long process, at least for the water mains being replaced, how late can they repave the street? Or is that gonna Are they just gonna patch it, we'll have to wait until spring to repave it?
No, and that was my main concern, when we had the pre-construction meeting about going into December, is because it's iffy, you never know what you're gonna get. You know, sometimes you can get into the second, third week of December and the plants are still open, but sometimes they're closed.
Right.
So that was a concern of mine I brought up, but I wasn't comfortable with the date, but the alternative was to make them stop, and we're sitting all winter anyway, so they're gonna just try their best to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, sir?
Oh, sorry, that's all I've got.
Yes, you, man. All right. Move along to the city attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Move along to the department head report, and start off tonight with the economic development.
Mix it up every time, don't you?
I try to, keep you lively.
We gotta stay on our toes. And copy of our report out. This way.
I know where your others are.
Okay.
They're on my desk.
Okay. I apologize to those who didn't get a copy, but it's just a pretty short report. Hey, we had 2 ribbon cuttings this month. I think both are great. One for the Hickory Dickory Dock Retro Candies on 500 block. That was a lot of fun. Good business. Really want to be active. They were active this Saturday at the Fall Fest. They're the ones who brought the magician out, the sword swallower and all that. He was a lot of fun. Really want to be active in the community. Twisting my arm about a Halloween parade, and I said, please, it's October 1st. Let's get you involved in the trunk or treat if it passes tonight. So that's good on that. The other one, Unitaza Cafe. Unfortunately, I was on vacation for that ribbon cutting, but I saw the photos. I saw probably one of our best attended ribbon cuttings ever. It's a shop that I think many of us have already gone to multiple times. It's great to have in the city. Alejandra is a business we've been working with for 2 years. I'm so glad to have her in the city. I'm hopeful that within the next month or so, I'll have an announcement of another new business getting ready to move into a vacant building. So about the CCAP program, the investments that we made in these buildings are coming to fruition. 620 where Unitaza is. Tammy put a picture out on Facebook of what it looked like in like the 1890s, and there's a photo of what it looked like last year. If you remember the bunker that it was, and how well it looks and how great it is now. So I think it's really great. Events, we had our citywide yard sale on the 21st. We had Fall Fest on the 28th, the 600 block. It was a lot of fun. A lot of pumpkin carvings. I had, for those who were there, saw me get my face painted bright green and scary with Erin Fox, great makeup artist, our tattoo artist. They do, her and her husband run the Dent Schoolhouse. So really had a lot of scary kids and one old man with face paint on them in there. It was a lot of fun. We've already done trunk or treat. Laura's on my Main Street board. Main Street will step up and work on that, so that'll be good. Grants updating. We're wrapping up the the right-of-way phase. I think the letters have gone out with the offers. So we're getting ready to send that down to KYTC. We had some work. GRW came up. There was a question about lighting on 6th Avenue, which was confusing to me because supposedly it didn't meet the requirements for KYTC, and I was confused because it's about one of the best lit sections around on Kentucky 8. Learned that some of our lights had not been included in the original survey, so that's being sent back with that updated. So the lighting should be fine. So we should wrap this up, send this down to KYTC, get their approval on that, and we're moving into them allowing us to go into bid on construction. And I hope to do that after Christmas. So I will continue the pressure that I can do on that, but we'll be at their mercy. But we have wrapped pretty much everything up and above for them. So that Received an urban forestry grant. I talked about that, I applied for it. I received $750 from the Campbell County Conservation District for trees on the 10 and 1100 block of Fifth Avenue. So that's going, we'll put those in the spring. I've applied for a Campbell County Extension Environmental Stewardship Grant to install pollinator gardens along Aaron's Way, where we have those planting beds built in there. I had DJ Scully come out and we walked it and talked to him about what we were doing there. And my interest was doing a pollinator garden. There's a lot of great wildflowers down there. And there's beautiful ones, at least were a couple weeks ago. Yellow, kind of black-eyed Susan flowers along the stormwater outlet. These plants, these wildflowers, like wet, nutritious soil, and then they go there. I took some pictures on Facebook. Beautiful yellow wildflowers there. And, there's purple flowers there. I learned that was purple loosestrife. It's an invasive plant, but it's very pretty. And we don't really have a problem with it. It's some things there, but we've got some great wildflowers kind of building off that. So put that in for $500. The Walk Dayton project, I wanted to have those signs up. They'll be going up tomorrow. Eugene and I will be putting those up. So that was a $500 grant we got from the Northern Virginia Health Department. Following up, we didn't have a bar meeting last night. There was Board of Architectural Review. We're planning to have one at Hometown Heroes. And now that we know where Hometown Heroes is, that's good. We had a little challenge last Tuesday. Hometown Heroes is our meeting spot, and they were in transition. And I want to thank Timmy and Crystal, and even though they weren't open and they were still painting and moving things around, they opened their new location up for us. So we got to meet there, a little preview. This weekend at the Fall Fest, oh my gosh, those guys slammed. I think it was really good for the businesses, really brought a lot of people down there to get to go in there and go in there. Tammy and I had lunch probably around 2 o'clock, and normally that would be at a restaurant's quiet time. The bar was full packed, the restaurant was full packed, so they had their work caught up from this weekend, but just as council has tonight, the community has shown a lot of support. So Blue Ridge, I want to say, commented that it was one of the best days ever. Candy Store was out there, Native Brand was out there, so it really did help support our businesses. So if there's no questions, yep.
Could you give us an update on Sergeant Park?
Sergeant Park hasn't been much movement on it in the past couple months. I think we need to sit down and discuss an MOU with Cora that we want to see if we want to move forward with. But this summer, as it got hot, the volunteers that were working there are not. The last change that was done is when the water, Northern Virginia Water came in there to access their lines. We walked with them, and where the pathways had been already cut down, they were able to use their equipment to open that up. So that was big helpful. So that was probably back in July, and there really hasn't been much movement on it since then.
Have any of the funds for that park been used that were set aside by the person who donated?
Maybe one thing. We did spend $400 on buying a grill that we're going to install in Sergeant Park. So no, we spent $400. And so that Public Works has that, and they'll be installing that so that the picnic pavilion will have one of those one of those park grills. We bought one of those, so we spent $400. So not quite no, but almost no. So, all right, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Yoder? Thank you very much, sir. Move along to code enforcement with Mr. Lyles.
Mayor, Council. You all received my report. Just a brief summary for the month of September. I closed 56 cases. If you'll notice on that report, I did add another line for notes that kind of would give each council member the ability to look at it and see the result as to why that case was closed. I just thought it would be a good more information provided for you all. 65 letters were sent out in the month of September with 16 citations, 8 grass invoices, and 41 violation letters. I also received my third quarter report, which was January through September. Through that time period, there were 658 letters that were sent out, 463 were violation letters, 167 were citations, and 28 were grass invoices. And in that time period, there were also 373 total cases closed. And I put a copy of an example of a nuisance violation letter in front of each one of you all. A couple of meetings ago, everyone had kind of expressed their concern and discussed it, and was wanting to kind of see that we send out a violation prior to issuing the citation right away. So I worked on that, and it was tweaked by the city attorney and approved by him. So this is what I'll be sending out once it comes to my attention, whether it be via the fire department, myself, the chief, or any of the other officers. Once I get that, do the research on it, and if they qualify or they've had 2, I'll go ahead and send it out then. If they have 3 or 4, I'll still send out the violation letter, letting them know. And if you look in there, you'll see that that's basically what it states. You've received this letter letting you know that you have had at least 2 nuisance activities within the past year. As such, should your property have an additional nuisance activity on or before. Now that date that you'll see in there, and this is an example, 5/20, that means the first violation that they received was, or the first activity, the nuisance activity, was 5/11 of 19. So they had one on 5/11 of 19, at least one after that, could be 2 after that. But if they have one more prior to 5/10 of 2020, we can issue them a citation. They've already been warned, which is kind of what you all were looking at and wanted to see. So that way no one will have an excuse not to know once they receive a citation why. And that's pretty much all I have. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Officer Lyle,
Yes, sir.
thanks for sharing the nuisance violation. Do you think this is enough? I mean, somebody who's ignoring their property, what's another $500 fine? One of the nuisance ordinances that I thought we based this on was actually revoking their occupancy permit so that they'd have to vacate the property, come up with remediation steps that they would take. Is a $500 fine enough, do you think? Or do we need to take, has it been effective as you want it to be?
Well, I think so, for the most part. I mean, one of the places that we could probably cite, as the chief can attest to, would be Spears Court. We have a lot of issues down there. And I mean, we could hit them probably with $500 every other week. I mean, I guess we don't, a big majority of the properties, or probably 90% of the properties that we issue these to are rental properties. I mean, it comes back to, do we want to run people out of town? If we revoke that, then we have another issue. We have a vacant property because they don't live here. So you have to kind of look at it each way. I think hitting them with $500 hurts. I mean, at least they act like it hurts. When they call, they carry on like it was $5,000. But
Well, it's not so much the money. What I'm looking for is remediation. Is it effective in getting these issues remediated?
I think for the most part it is. I mean, we haven't done a duplicate one yet.
Okay.
So I've issued a few of them. I've issued 3 violations already, 1 in September and 2 this month already.
Okay.
That will, the next one they get will be a citation.
You're the one that has to enforce it, so if you think it's effective.
Well, here's one of the pitfalls to that is I've heard from people, and you can't evict someone for that. Mostly about the only thing you can evict them for is non-payment. Being a hoarder, being a slob, being a problem child, if you pay your rent, doesn't necessarily cause for eviction. So they kind of have the same issues that we have. But we're hitting them, and they'll enforce. I think that will cause them to enforce their property much better as opposed to just collecting rent.
I recall, Joe, it's been maybe last year, or year before, but we discussed something, basically the same thing. We're not trying to make money, we want to solve a problem.
Right.
And I don't know if it's $500 or $5,000, but I think we need to start at 500 and be very proactive on it, and if it works, it works.
Now, you all would have to change that, because
Right.
the citation, the way the nuisance ordinance works, is it's 500 for each offense. So if they have 10 offenses, it's only 500 for each offense.
Right.
I'm just saying, as we were designing this nuisance ordinance, we looked at some other cities' ordinances, and some of them are pretty severe compared to what we adopted. And a couple of them were that, the owner of the property had to sit down with the police chief, code enforcement, et cetera, to come up with a remediation plan. We did not include that in ours, and that's why I was asking you, do we need to take that next step? And you feel we don't.
How hard is it to implement it and enforce it? That's the thing, you can, just like winning a lawsuit and collecting is two different things. We can implement and lay down and implement. One thing about this is we have the ability to collect through the taxes. You give them a remediation plan and they, doesn't mean it's gonna be followed by their tenants. They can only try. They're kind of in the same situation we are, but we can hit their pocketbook, so they'll be more cognizant of who they rent to from now on.
Have you had many or any that are multiples? Did you say you didn't, right?
I
That
haven't yet.
gotten- not
Like I
yet.
said, we could probably hit Spears Court. It's our test, we spend a lot of time down there. Police department does, so we could. And so we're watching that a little bit more, and, but no, to answer your question, not a lot.
Then it's working.
Any other questions for Mr. Lyles? Thank you very much, sir. Chief Atkins.
Mayor, good evening. Sent my report out. I'm not sure it was received by everybody. There's nothing really groundbreaking on it. Had 191 runs for the month, so another busy month for us. Touch on a couple things. The burn ban is in effect. It's been really dry lately, so the county judge executive issued a burn ban. We just kind of followed along. Normally we'd start issuing burn permits October 1st for people want to burn brush, things like that, and we just kind of stopped that altogether. So the only outdoor burning allowed right now is either in a grill for cooking, or it's got to be a bonfire or a ceremonial campfire that's organized, and we have to kind of be involved with it. So there's really no other burning going on right now. I had a fire board meeting on the 16th, and I know Mr. Neary, you've asked a couple times about the radios. The grant process is over. The county did not receive our grant for radios, so we'll be having to foot, each individual department will be having to foot their own bill for the radios. So we have a plan in place. We're going to be resubmitting an RFP within the next week to get a lower price on the radios. So we will be covered, in contact with Director Evanson from the dispatch service all the time. And the new service will not, or the new radio system will not go into play until everybody is on board. So that's about all I got.
When you say everybody, do you mean the county and all the local cities, with the radios not going on board?
Yes, yeah, so it's Campbell County Consolidated Dispatch, so they cover police, fire, for all the cities, and when they make the switch, everybody's gonna be affected but they will not make that switch until everybody is up to date, ready to go with new radios and been trained on, so. And they don't have all the towers up yet anyway, they're still working on some of those, so it's not gonna be anytime soon.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Any other questions? Thanks, Chief.
All right, thanks.
Police Chief David Hadfield.
I don't have anything to add yet, in my report.
Any questions for Mr. Hadfield? Thank you, sir. Do we have any correspondence? Correspondence, any petitions?
I have one, sir.
Mr. Neary.
I have a petition from Curtis Belcher on Dayton Pike.
Yes, sir.
He is asking that council and administration approve that the Young Marines can do their fundraising at the corner of 6th and Berry on November the 9th, which is a Saturday. I believe from 10 to 2. They'll be stationed like they've done before, with stop signs and buckets. It's their major fundraiser of the year. This is the Young Marines of Northern Kentucky.
So that's at the corner of 6th and Berry, sir?
Yes, and they'll also be back down there on the following Monday. Maybe not in the street, but they'll be down there for the Veterans Day services at the monument on Monday, November 11th. But what they're asking for is the city's permission to do a fundraiser at 6th and Berry on Saturday, November 9th.
Anybody like to make a motion that we accept the Young Marines request for permission to collect funds at the corner of 6th and Berry on 11/9?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mr.
Second.
Burnett, second by Mr. Baser. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Thank you, Mr. Murray. Anything else, sir?
No, sir. Not under petition.
What's that?
Not under petition.
Oh, I'm sure you got some unfinished business. Maybe you got some new business, we don't know.
We know.
Oh, we know. Any other petitions? All right, now, Mr. Murray, we're gonna ask you if you have any unfinished business.
We can ask everybody. Comprehensive plan. What is our current status on distributing that, getting public feedback?
It's been posted online for a couple weeks. It'll go before Planning and Zoning Board, and then it will come back to City Council.
Okay. Probably November, December meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and promote that as much as we can on all social aspects. Make sure everybody knows that the comprehensive plan is out there on the website.
Second thing, and I spoke with Mr. Giffen about this today, but the 6th and Berry intersection, this council made a majority decision March or April, to make that a 4-way stop. I know we're running into roadblocks with getting approval from KYTC. Legally, can we, I guess the question is for Mr. Hedge. What rights does the city have to just go ahead and do that? I know in years past, I don't know if you remember down on 4th Street, the 1000 all the way out to the flood wall, they put up stop signs, and then they took down, the city put up stop signs and then took down stop signs, and I never heard anything about KYTC. Do we have the, council has approved it, do we have the legal authority to go ahead and make that change and make it a 4-way stop?
Their stoplight, the transportation cabinet stoplights, so we start taking, we don't have any control of them, start taking their lights, or then interfering with their property rights. So we're not gonna wanna touch that.
So in that case, for the thing is, we can make it a 4-way stop, but we can't touch the electronics for the signal, is basically what it boils down to.
Which would be
You're not gonna
extremely
put
confusing
stop signs
for
up?
people. You know, do you pay attention to the stop sign or the stop light?
We can put up a stop sign, but we have no control over the stop.
So you see
Now-
green light and a stop sign.
Now,
which
if
one
they
do you
can
believe?
kill, if KYTC would agree to kill the light, leave it in place
Yeah.
and kill it,
That's
so
a
that,
different
so that it's
red.
dark, then it would work.
But that's the problem, is we can't touch their lights,
Yes.
and that's where we get into the legal problem.
So
I
they would
believe-
have to agree to kill it.
I believe that Mr. Giffen's been in talks with KYTC on that with the upcoming school year, yes, sir?
Yeah, so the last update I had for you all was that they had told us that they would come back once school started and do another study. I mean, the original study they said they didn't warrant it. And so we made the argument that we didn't do it when we asked you to do it. They were gonna come back and do it, but I can't get a return phone call or any information that says that they've done it or haven't done it. So I don't know. I don't know if they've done it or haven't done it yet. That's what we're trying to get verification on. So I'm not getting any return phone calls from
From Mr. Mullins?
the department that was responsible for the study and.
Well, keep trying if you would, sir.
Yeah.
Because especially with the businesses that are locating down there, and it's not just the school traffic, it's gonna become a bigger issue, especially going into winter as it's darker down there. Looking at the comprehensive plan, the average annual daily traffic volumes along Route 8, this is by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, at 6th and Clay, which is only a block away. Take a guess how many cars a day? average. 8,400 cars a day, 8,400 vehicles going through there a day. That kind of tells you what kind of volume goes through there. Pretty much everybody that's going past Clay is going past Barry. So if we could, if there's any way we can help, just to have them come up, unlock the box and flip the switch, that would be great.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
I know. That's it, sir.
Any other unfinished business?
Mayor, I just want to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank Donna Ledger and her staff for getting the tax bills out. And also every month, she gives us a report of the bills and stuff that she gets in. And I happen to read this every month, and in fact, I called Donna and she lets me know about this tax register, the check registry. It's very interesting to me, some of the stuff we pay out of this, out of check. So Donna, to you and your staff, you do a great job.
Thank you, Bob.
It's a big job. Thanks, Donna. Yes, sir.
Have we heard any more about the St. Bernard property? The time frame is?
Nothing really. We're wrapping up. I've only gotten the first draft of the SHP study. We need to sit down with them again to do that. And I've had conversations with the entity to get us something to move forward with, and we're just kind of waiting on that. So, still in the final stages of wrapping up the report.
Any other unfinished business?
I guess this falls under unfinished. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I had a citizen ask me today, what was the demolition plans for the burned out property, I believe properties on Brooklyn Avenue?
We've got a couple we need to get out for bid. So that'll be in the works here in the next couple of weeks to see if we can't see what the prices are and get them down. We've got some on Urban Terrace as well, but that we may hold off on that because of all the work going on with the water main. But we've got several that need to come down.
Some of those on Brooklyn we're waiting on acquisition, right?
Michael?
Yeah, I'd have to check with you to see where that's standing.
We're waiting on
Since you
acquisition.
mentioned the one on Urban Terrace, my suggestion, a strong suggestion, since you're getting that repaved, that you're trying to get that house on the corner there of Urban Terrace tore down before the heavy equipment comes in there. You get it all paved, and the heavy equipment comes in there and tears the damn building down and messes up the street. So think about that when you're putting that something on your list.
Any other unfinished business? I'd like to move along to new business. We have a special event application from Go Reach Dayton.
They would like to have a chili cook-off on Thursday, October 17th, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Gilland Park Shelter.
So you're asking me if we should have a chili cook-off. That's fantastic. The Go Reach Dayton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Any entrants? Because I'm going to beat y'all. Passes unanimously. Executive session.
Hang on, you need to do.
I have no business.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
I just wanted to remind everyone the haunted house opens on Thursday, October the 3rd. And Ben and I, and anybody that wants to join us, are gonna be one of the first ones to go through, 7 o'clock,
Thank
Thursday
you,
night.
Mayor.
That's it.
Fantastic. So it has the haunted house down at the Dayton Community Center. So
It's
invite
hosted by
everybody.
the Civic Club.
Invite everybody to come down and get scared. So it's gonna be
It's
fun.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all month, correct?
Should we officially set our trick-or-treat time?
That was my next piece here. So would we like to officially set our trick-or-treat time for Halloween being on October 31st, 2019, between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m.
I have a suggestion.
Listening?
Can we make that like going forward, that's what it will be every year, rather than waiting to have an October council meeting.
kind of
And if it
traditional.
wants to get changed by a new mayor or a new council, we change it.
All right. Well, we're gonna do Thanksgiving though, I mean, is it still gonna be this
It kind of
Thursday?
seems like, I don't know.
Actually, in the past, I've had this argument legally. Council has no say in it, it's up to the mayor. Why we vote on it every year was just a matter of courtesy towards council in the past, but really, it's the mayor's decision administratively.
I have courtesy toward all my council.
I don't disagree, sir.
So, if you wanna give it to me, that's fine, I respect your courtesy. I would make it on actually Halloween between the hours of 6 and 8 PM.
Every year
Until I'm out?
until somebody can.
All right, so every year till next year, we'll go ahead and make that.
Good, I don't have to vote on it.
I didn't say that.
You never know.
Once again, I'm suggesting you go from 5 to 8 instead of 6 to 8. I like it. For safety of these young kids.
Well, we're already getting complaints
That's
because
still
we
dark.
start early and people are flying home to get
The safety,
off work.
yeah, the safety could be confused as people are trying to get home versus.
Yeah, I mean, we already get a ton of
5 to
complaints
7
that we
minutes.
start at 6.
Yeah. So by executive order, Halloween will be on October 31st between the hours of 6 and 8. And Thanksgiving and Christmas will be the same as well. Yes, sir.
Christmas between 6 and 8.
Now, Christmas, you can celebrate all day, sir. Thanksgiving only after the parade starts. That's when mom gets the turkey done. Do we have any other
I
new
have some other
business?
new business, sir. if
Yes,
I
sir.
may. Wanted to remind everybody, Dayton High School homecoming is this weekend. The homecoming dance is Saturday night. Friday night, the homecoming parade starts at the high school and goes down to the stadium, and that starts at 5:30. Game time against undefeated Berea starts at 7. Dayton football is having, it's amazing to watch. It really is. I hope everybody comes out and supports them. The band, the cheerleaders, the coaches. It's really been exciting to watch. I wanted to also remind everyone, when we had the lady here a couple weeks ago, or a couple meetings ago about the census, she emphasized how important it is for us to be counted. One of the best ways to be counted and be noticed in Frankfurt is to vote on November the 5th. I know there's no local offices of ours that are up for election, but take 5 or 10 minutes on November the 5th and vote, because believe me, they do look at the voting percentages of each community, and if your percentage is low, they don't care about you. So I emphasize with everybody to please vote on November the 5th. I'm not telling you who to vote for, just vote. The other thing I had was the unsolicited flyers ordinance that we passed a couple of months ago. We're still getting them. I probably should have gone under unfinished business, but have the publishers been notified about this change? I know they contract out to guys that, drive by in their car and they pay them a nickel a piece or whatever.
Tom and I are discussing that. We had an issue come up last weekend, and we're it's new territory for us, so we're kind of figuring out how best to address it. Some of them aren't violations, because if you read the ordinance, it's where they're placed.
Right.
As long as they're placed properly. But there are some that were violations. So the question is, what's the avenue? So Tom and I have been talking about this week. Well, I can give you an update.
Well, they usually do them on Sunday mornings, and I know Phil doesn't like overtime. But that's when they're usually distributing them on Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons, and, I don't want to tie up officers' times. I'm just hoping that we can alert the publishers and possibly those contracted
We're trying to
carriers.
wrap our heads around who we need to contact, and that's what Tom and I are working out right now.
Cool, thank you, sir. That's pretty much all I have, sir.
Any other new business?
Sure.
Oh,
Just do not forget the Front Porch Concert coming up.
Oh,
It's 6th
excellent
and
point.
Vine.
6 and Vine, that is on Saturday.
Yes, definitely.
And
From 6 to 11.
at the lodge, which
At the lodge.
everyone loves to hang out there. Good food, good music,
Yep.
good drink.
Yep.
So please come out and join us for a few hours of fun on this Saturday. Any other new business? Is there a reason for executive session?
Mayor, I'd ask for a motion for executive session under KRS 61.810, Section 1, subsection B, deliberations, future acquisition, and sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of a specific piece of property be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency for property related in the Manhattan Harbor TIF district.
So there is a reason for executive session, so we'll go ahead and enter that. Do I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? We're in executive session, so if anybody needs to use the restroom, this is your time.
Who made that sound?
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah. Want me to set it up?
They have twins, one quarter.
No, you can.
Once it gets fun towards the end.